Well, hello there. Welcome to Stone Culture's Not Afraid to Abrade. My name's Keith Hull, and I'm the original founder of Stone Culture. Today we're going to talk about hand abrading and the benefits of using your abrading tool to thin out your preform, make nice smooth transitions from the edge of your blade to the center of the blade, and keep those flake scars nice and crisp. Let's take a look at some of the tools that we're working with and see what we can do today. Here we have a Stone Culture abrader. Notice that it's grooved. It's an 80 grit soft stone. Really do a great job of removing bulk material. There's also a smooth side for some up close fine detail abrading. We're working with the Stone Culture Preform. You can see it's a 1/4 of an inch thick and a couple inches long. Pretty standard basic material for a newer napper. And we have, of course, a Stone Culture pressure flaker. If you look, you'll see that the tip is nice and squared off. 4 even sides pounded out. When you pound out copper, it actually hardens it, versus filing it and removing material. By pounding it out, you're just reshaping the material and hardening, strengthening the copper. So it's always best to hammer out the tip to a nice square fine point versus filing it off. Okay, also of interest is that if you've been watching my videos over a length of time, you'll see that now I wear glasses. It's always important to have safety glasses on. Keep the stone out of your eyes. Never hurts to use a face mask. Just keep the dust out of your lungs, or make sure you're in a very well ventilated area so you don't end up with silica in your lungs. Let's get started and see what we could do today. Okay, this is my 5th attempt to make this video. The problem that I've had has been that my camera died. My memory card was no good. I tried a second camera that was older and haven't used it in years, and it was non-compatible anymore, so I had to go down and buy a brand new Canon T3. So today we're going to see what we could do. We're actually going to nap out our preform real quick. I'm just going to skin the face, and from here I'll begin hand braiding. So one thing that we want to do is we actually sometimes have a problem. When you're shooting flakes, you've probably noticed that sometimes you get a hinge that develops right here, just where the flakes come down and crack off and they stop short instead of petering out. Well, if your flakes are too close together, that's what happens. So you want to spread your flakes out about a 1/4 of an inch or so, because the flake will follow whatever the last flake did. So if the flake follows the ridge of this one, it'll follow the ridge of this flake as well. Well, sometimes when you get up here, when you shoot a flake, it comes over here and it sees this ridge in between this side and this side, and it'll follow this ridge along the edge here. So the way that we can avoid that is we take 3 or 4 flakes on this side and then 3 or 4 flakes on this side. They say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that's certainly the case. See, I didn't get that hinge along the edge here because I already had flakes on this side, so that worked out really easy. Sounds like there's a lot of motorcycles outside today. It's a beautiful Sunday here in Port Orchard, Washington. It's one thing I sure love about my state. Got lots of nice long summer days. Spring and fall is pretty mild, so we don't really have a lot of terrible weather, except rain. We got plenty of rain, more than our fair share. Okay, so you can see my flakes now. I've got nice even spacing all along here. That's going to make it much easier to abrade when I'm done. The more even and uniform your preform is, the more even and uniform your abrading will be. Look at that, already got a little cut on the end of my thumb, or end of my finger. So I'm just going to flip over now and come to the other side. Skin this out pretty quick. You may notice that I'm going really fast compared to you. If you're a newer napper. Well, that's years of experience. I'm doing this on a daily basis, making 5 to 10 blades a day sometimes. Sometimes more if there's a really quick order. And here's a good point. I don't know if you could see this, but there's a little island right here. What happened is my flake stopped short. So by having the wide spacing, I can actually go back and grab one of these ridges here by this little island and pull that off. So that actually answers the question, how do I get the islands off in the middle of my blade? Again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. By having wider spacing, you're actually able to go back and use those ridges you've created to pick up any islands. You also may notice that I don't really look at my preform too often. That's because I've been napping so long that I can tell the difference between a good flake and a bad flake a lot just by the sound. So now I'm coming down to the end again, and I want to be sure I don't create a hinge right here. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to take off 3 or 4 flakes on this side. See? And then when I go back over here and finish out this end, there won't be any hinges. Nice. Okay, so we'll finish this up real quick and we'll move on to abrading. YouTube only lets me have about 10 minutes of video, I think, unless I compress it down so far that you can't really see any detail. So I'm probably going to have to edit the heck out of my video, teaching you the finer points of abrading. What abrading does is it creates a nice platform for you to be able to pull off your flakes. It's actually kind of like a magic marker too, because it erases the mistakes that you make. If you don't have a very good flake, you can actually take your abrader and clean it up and try it again. Now if you notice here, hopefully this video is in focus, you see my lines are nice, evenly spaced, lots of ridges and valleys here in between all the flakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my abrader and I'm going to use the ridged edge, and I'm just going to go like this. What that does is it, kind of like a file, it removes a lot of that, a lot of those humps, valleys, very quickly. Which means less abrading. Very quickly. Look at all that coming off so fast. This stone has been used for quite a few blades, so it's starting to lose some of its ridges and stuff. I usually keep 2 on hand, so I'll probably go get one of those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my abrader and I'm going to remove all these ridges along here, about 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch back or so. So I'm going to take my abrader Just grind those back. You want to make sure you either have a respirator on or in a very well ventilated area. You don't want to braid this dust. And you don't need to constantly wipe the dust off like I'm doing, because the dust is actually part of the abrasive and will help you remove material much quicker. Now you can see here, hopefully, how quickly I'm able to hand grind this back. That's just a few seconds. This is probably going to take me about 20 minutes or so, maybe 20 minutes on each side. This is a pretty big preform. If you typically are napping a 4-inch preform or 5-inch preform from us, you might have, 20 minutes, half an hour involved in the entire thing. It goes pretty fast, really. You want to do nice, long, even strokes. Make little circles. Whatever works for you. This is your artwork. So yours is going to be different than mine. Mine will be different than the next guy. What I'm going to do here is braid the heck out of this. And what I'm doing is I'm thinning down the edge. And I want this thinned down all the way down to maybe a 1/16 of an inch or so. And then you can see how this edge here is perpendicular to the side. What I want to do when I get this thin enough is I want to put a new platform on here by changing this angle just a little bit. And when I change the angle, that'll create a platform that I could take. If the platform's on this side, I could put my flaker onto this side of the platform and pull it right off. I'll show you that in a few minutes here. Just going to work away at this. Okay, we're getting down where we're a lot closer now. You can see that this is working pretty good. One thing that I did want to point out to you, as important as your eye protection is, and your respiratory protection with a face mask or ventilation, also of equal importance is spousal protection. If you're out here in your shop and you're making preforms or blades or whatever you're doing, and you track in some glass into your house, your wife is going to have your hide. I have a little rug out here, and I keep shoes in my shop, so I trade them out. Also, I try not to wear any of my really nice clothes out here, because once upon a time when I was married, boy would my wife get upset when I'd trash my brand new clothes. So you can see my preform's done here now. Yours may not look like this. I've spent quite a bit of time, technique, trying to make this as even as possible. You can see I've lost a little bit of my straight edge, but that's okay because I'm still in the process of napping. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this ground back abraded area. Remember I told you about the platform. If you look now, hopefully you can see that maybe, my platform is no longer at a 90, it's now at an angle. So I'm going to take my platform side up. I'm going to take my pressure flaker, check to make sure it's nice and sharp still. Now would be a good time to hammer it out if I need to. And I'm just going to put this on here, inward and downward. Make sure my spacing's good. And this is my platform side, so this side's up, and I'm just taking off this napped area. Now if you do this right and your platform is good, your flakes will come off very, very easily. If your flakes are not coming off easily, then that means you get to abrade some more. Yay! Tell you what, I hear guys that are dedicated percussion nappers never nap a preform. Well, percussion napping just creates preforms for you to pressure flake. Some guys just stop at the point where they get a biface, and some guys go ahead and nap them into blades, but I hear them regularly say, oh, preforms, that's cheating, there's no work involved in that. Whew! You could see the sweat pouring off of my face right now from all this abrading. Probably change your opinion. All I'm doing is I'm abrading to remove material instead of percussioning or pressure flaking. Now I'm not using as much force because I'm not shooting the flakes as far. I'm only removing this area. I don't have to shoot all the way to the center of the preform, but just enough to come up to about the third of the way or so, you know, so my flakes kind of roll into the pattern. Sometimes it gets hard to see your platform, so you can go back in and just abrade real quick, and that chalk kind of lights it up. Boy, without a cameraman, this is sure hard to shoot a video. My last one came out pretty good, except I was actually napping off screen. You couldn't see what I was doing. Hopefully this one I've been able to stay in frame a little bit better. Looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm a pretty blessed man in that I've got friends all over this country, friends in every state, friends in every country in Europe, some countries in Africa and Asia, quite a few countries, even in Russia. I've been able to help people all across the entire planet. That's pretty neat. Okay, now's a good point to mop the sweat off your forehead. Now, maybe you can see here, this platform is right back to the point again where we've got the humps and valleys. So what we're going to do is take our abrader with our grooves, and we're just going to pull all those mountains off. We're going to reverse our platform now, so it's no longer on this side like this. Now it's going to be over here, and then we can use the platform from this side to pull off the flakes over here, to pull off the grind there. So I'm going to take my file-like grooves, pull all these off, and then I'm going to take my abrader, and I'm just going to grind back that edge. It's very important that you remove all of the platform from the other side. Otherwise, you'll still have a little bit of a platform on this edge, and that's dangerous because that's just like, instead of having a nice square angle, it's actually like this, so that it's reinforced. And you know what you want to do is remove all that old platform and change it to the other side. And that's what this narrow side here of the abrading stone is for, doing more detailed areas where you can't maybe get the whole stone in there. Okay, so looking down there now, I could see my platform's good on this side. Let me just change it over on the back side here. Hopefully I don't have to edit out too much time in this video to get it to fit. But we're getting to answer lots of questions. Keith, how do I get those perfect flake scars like you have? Well, mine aren't perfect by any means. There's much better nappers out there than me. I've just been doing it a while and gotten to share my experience. So now you can see maybe my new platform. It's much thinner than the first time. The first time might have been a little bit thicker. Now I want this platform as thin as possible because I want to remove as much as possible. You hear that sound? The flakes won't come off. That means I've still got a little bit of platform on this side, which now I can see it when I look. I'll crisp up this edge. Try it again. Should go very easy. If it doesn't go easy, that's the stone telling you that it needs to be abraded more. See? Coming right off. Can't be afraid to abrade. You can't abrade too much. It just doesn't happen. The more you abrade, the smoother your lines are going to be. Have a really nice blade when you're done. You know, if it took you 2 hours to abrade it down, that's okay. Because in 2 hours, you'll have a priceless piece of artwork. What's amazing about our artwork is that we're finding arrowheads that are 10, 20, 30,000 years old. Who knows how old they are really. A lot of it's just guesswork. And your blade, when you're finished, will be on this earth for at least another 10,000 years, 20,000 years. My guess is it'll be on the earth somewhere until the end of time. Probably long after man has flown the coop and gone to a different place. Stone doesn't rust. It'll only weather if it's left outside exposed. That's a heck of a legacy, isn't it? To know that you're going to create something, or that you are creating something that's going to be around forever. You see my flakes are really nice. I left the tip here on purpose. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Periodically stop and check my platform. Your platform is so critically important because if it's not right and you have to force your flakes off, your preform now is so thin that it's in danger of breaking. So you want to make sure that the platform's nice and crisp and comes off real easy. One of the things that I got to do this year is go down to Arizona and meet a friend of mine. Look at some houses down there. Someday I'm going to retire and move away from Washington. And he showed me some really cool stuff called shoya cactus, and showed me how to harvest some of it when it's in season, when you're allowed to. I believe the limit down there is as much as you can carry out in one trip. That's your limit for the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of shoya cactus and I'm going to put it on this blade here and make a knife out of it. Then I'll show you in the end exactly what it looks like when it's finished. Now you can see there's just a little bit of platform left here. What I can do is I can take it off with an abrading stone. I can use the side of my flaker to just pull that off, or I can leave it because a serrated blade is a sharp blade. So there we are, we're done, we're ready to go. Oh, still got that little edge there I gotta fix. The reason why I left that is I wanted to show you how important it is when you abrade this back side and when you braid the bottom side. You want these to kind of line up right in the middle of the blade, so it leaves really nice lines. And when you're doing the tip, you know, you're not removing very much material at all, so you want to be very delicate, very gingerly. And if you break the tip off, that's okay. You can just reshape it with your flaker very easily. So here we are. I hope to meet some of you on this road that we trudge to happy destiny. One of my favorite quotes from a book I read once. Good napping to you. Remember, this is your art. However you want it to be and however it comes out, it's an expression of you and all your life experiences. So enjoy it. Have fun with it. Good napping to you.